Okay, grab some coffee, and I quickly want to kick off with a bit of a story. So, how did I get into film photography? Or should I say, how did I get into film photography again? So here's what happened. I was working as a photographer for a long time, mostly digital photography. Well, actually only digital photography, and doing a lot of, the normal stuff, commercial shoots. I was doing advertising. I was also doing weddings, events, portraiture. And it got to a stage where I really almost got bored with photography. I got in something I would probably call a creative kind of freeze or block. And then I started teaching art at a school in South Africa. And just before my dad passed away, he gave me one of his old film cameras, a rangefinder camera. I wasn't sure if it was working, and I just kind of used it for display purposes. And obviously something that made me feel really close to my dad. And then I started just collecting cameras, or people gave cameras to me, and I used them for display purposes only, because I didn't have an idea if they were working or how they worked. And then I was sitting one day and I was thinking, I was looking at all these cameras, and it was quite a lot. It was like 15 cameras or so. And I thought, I'm going to go out and see if I can find some film and just put it in one of these cameras, and I'm going to just drive out and do a couple of test shots. And I was blown away, because I wasn't sure if the camera was working or not, but the experience of and the anticipation and that feeling of creativity just came over me again. And I took this camera out. It was a Olympus Trip. I think it's called Olympus Trip 35 or something like that. And I drove out to the mountains, took a couple of pictures. I wasn't even sure how the focusing works. I wasn't sure how the settings worked. I kind of downloaded a manual quickly. I found one online somewhere, and I took a couple of photos. And then I came back, and I had to find a place to actually develop these films, and then just to scan the photos in for me as well. So I did that, and I was so surprised. I couldn't believe that I could actually go out there, and obviously I followed the basic photography rules and looked for things like light and tried to work on my composition. It used this kind of sector focusing thing, where you would actually try to work out how far you are from whatever you're taking a photo of, and then change the settings on the camera. And I took the photos, and I came back, and there was one of these photos that really kind of just grabbed me. It wasn't the best taken photo ever, and it wasn't necessarily the most interesting of subject matters, but just me going through that and taking this photo of this tree just kind of changed me so much. And and I'm not exactly sure if it will qualify as a piece of art, but to me, it was something that had such a big impact on my life, and I'm very proud of that photo. And I went through a couple of stages where I tried some different papers and stuff, some different printing methods, printed the photo, I mounted it, and I framed it, and it's hanging in my house at this point. So that was the story about me starting film photography again, and the photo of that specific tree. The problem was I couldn't remember, because I didn't make notes and I didn't write down the settings and things, and I couldn't remember exactly where I found this tree. So I went back and I looked for the tree again, and I couldn't find it. So it was one of those pictures that just made so much sense in that moment, in that specific time. And I think that's why it's so special to me. Anyway, so that's how I got back into film photography again. So I started doing this with all the cameras I had with me, and then I started looking for some cameras online, marketplace, We've got a little secondhand shop here. I went and I looked at a couple of cameras there, and I ended up buying, I think, 2 or 3 cameras from a place called Bob Shop. It's an old bit or buy, and I've been using film cameras since that day on a regular basis, not for commercial, for money purposes, but just to keep my creative juices flowing and to make sure that I am always going out there and not only doing something and focusing on all the technical stuff, but really enjoying it and really changing normal photography into what I honestly believe is art photography. So yeah, that's the story about the Olympus and the tree. It was a very special moment for me, and if I look back now, if it wasn't for that moment of me just deciding I'm going to go out and test this camera, I would have been probably still stuck in that whole photography creative rut kind of like thing. So I'm really enjoying photography again. I am still learning, especially when it comes to film photography and when it comes to cameras, but on a daily basis, any kind of photography techniques and how different people see the world and see things and different stories, and I will probably always be learning when it comes to something like that. I will never be up to a level where I can say I'm going to be a professional instructor or professional photographer, but I think these conversations are the most important ones to have. Not again, I don't even know if we had this conversation before. I'm from South Africa, so English is not my first language. So I speak a language we call Afrikaans. I do teach in English, so my English is not always great, and I do make a lot of mistakes, and there's a lot of ums and ahs in the conversation always. But I'm trying my best, and it's very uncomfortable as well to have a conversation to a camera. So I am picturing that I'm having a conversation with all of you guys out there. So hopefully it'll get better and we can have more of these conversations. But I really do want to ask you to please leave some comments and leave some ideas and let me know what you think. And if there's anything else, there's also a form, and I've got a couple of manuals and some cue cards and things you guys can download. But on the form itself, on the submission form, it asks a couple of questions specifically about photography, but also other kind of like visual art forms. So if there's anything that you guys want to hear or want to talk about, please let me know, and we can definitely cover this on this channel. I love building this, and it's definitely not, to me, it's not a way of making extra money or getting my channel monetized or anything like that. I just love having this conversation, having like-minded people come together and talk about photography stuff, art stuff, visual art stuff. And even if you disagree with everything I'm saying, please be a part of the conversation, because I do believe that especially in this day and age, if we have some similar interests and similar problems, we need to share that and we need to be open about it. And if I have questions, I'm definitely sure that there's somebody that goes, me too. So I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.